In the silence of space, humanity's answer echoes from the void. The signal came on an ordinary day. Dr. Hannah Lee was checking data at her small desk in the Seoul Observatory when her computer started beeping. The pattern was too regular to be natural. It came from deep space, from a place no human had ever visited. Hannah's heart beat faster as she studied the signal. After checking her work 3 times, she picked up her phone with shaking hands and called her boss. "Director Song, I found something you need to see right now," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Within hours, scientists from around the world were looking at Hannah's discovery. The signal was definitely made by intelligent beings. It contained numbers and symbols that seemed to be a message. "This is First Contact," announced Director Song at an emergency meeting. "We are not alone in the universe." World leaders quickly formed a special team to study the message. Hannah was asked to lead the science group. After weeks of hard work, they made a breakthrough. "It's a distress call," Hannah explained to the United Nations, "and it includes the location of where it came from, a star system about 40 light years away." People around the world reacted differently to the news. Some were scared, others excited. Religious leaders offered their thoughts. Scientists worked day and night to learn more. The team discovered that the message had been traveling for almost 50 years. Whatever sent it might not even exist anymore. Still, humanity had to respond. The major countries of Earth agreed to work together for the first time in history. They would build a space probe that could travel faster than light, something that had only been theoretical until now. Engineer Jun Kim led the team that would build the special engine. "We have the basic science," he told reporters. "Now we need to make it work." For 3 years, the best minds on Earth worked on the project. The probe would carry a message back to the source of the signal. It would also gather information about whatever it found there. The day of the launch arrived. People around the world watched on screens as the small probe sat on its platform. It didn't look like much, just a metal cylinder with special equipment inside. But it represented humanity's first real step into the stars. Hannah stood with other team leaders in the control room. Her work decoding the alien message had made her famous, but she still felt like the same person who had been sitting alone at her desk 3 years ago. 10 seconds to launch," said the mission controller. Just then, all the computers in the room started beeping at once. Screens filled with new data. "Another signal," shouted one of the technicians. "From the same source." Hannah rushed to a computer. The new message was coming in clearly. As she began to decode it, her face grew pale. "Stop the launch," she said quietly. "What?" "We can't just," began Director Song. "Stop the launch," Hannah shouted. Something she had never done before, the countdown, halted as everyone stared at her. "This message isn't like the first one," she explained, her voice trembling. "It's a warning. They're telling us not to come, not to answer, not to let anyone know we're here." She pointed to an image forming on her screen. It showed a star system much like the one the signal came from. In the images, planets were breaking apart. Something massive and dark moved through the system, something that seemed to swallow light itself. "They're showing us what happened to them," Hannah whispered, "and warning us that it's coming here next." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had answered the call from space, and now whatever had destroyed the alien civilization might be turning its attention to Earth. "What do we do?" asked Director Song, looking suddenly older. Hannah stared at the terrible images on her screen. "We prepare," she said, "and we hope that we have time." 10 years passed since Earth received the warning. Humanity worked together to prepare for whatever might come from the stars. Scientists built new technologies. Countries that were once enemies became allies. They all faced the same threat. Captain June Park stood on the bridge of the UNSS Horizon, Earth's first ship that could travel faster than light. He was 35 years old, with serious eyes that had seen too many late nights of training. The ship was beautiful, sleek and powerful, built with technology that didn't exist a decade ago. "Final systems check complete, Captain," said Chief Engineer Minho. The FTL drive is ready. June nodded. Thank you, Chief. Is everyone on board? All. Crew accounted for, reported First Officer Yunji. She handed him a tablet with the mission details. 40 light years to the source of the signal. If all goes well, we'll be there in 3 months. The crew of 20 represented Earth's finest minds. Dr. Hana Lee, now with gray streaks in her hair, was their science officer. She had spent 10 years studying the alien messages and now would finally see what had sent them. This is Horizon Control, came a voice over the speakers. You are cleared for departure. June took a deep breath. Initiate launch sequence. The massive ship hummed to life. On Earth, billions watched as humanity's first true starship left orbit. The horizon moved smoothly away from Earth, past the moon, and toward the edge of the solar system. Once they were clear, June gave the order everyone had been waiting for. Activate FTL drive. The stars seemed to stretch around them, and then they were traveling faster than light itself, something once thought impossible. Earth disappeared behind them as they headed into the unknown. For 2 weeks, life on the ship settled into a routine. The crew monitored systems, ran tests, and prepared for what they might find. But on the 17th day, strange things began to happen. Captain, something's wrong with the sensors, reported Science Officer Jihu. They show objects near us, but when we look, there's nothing there. Later that day, Engineer Minho found unusual energy readings throughout the ship. It's like something is watching us, he said, showing June the data. That night, communications. Officer Yunji woke up screaming. There was a shadow in my room, she insisted. Not on the wall, in the air itself. More incidents followed. Equipment moved by itself. Lights flickered for no reason. Some crew members reported hearing whispers when no one was around. Dr. Hana spent hours analyzing the strange events. Whatever destroyed that alien civilization might be aware of us, she told June privately. We might be heading into a trap. June called a meeting of the senior officers. I need options, he said. Do we continue or turn back? The room was silent for a long moment. Finally, Hana spoke up. We continue, she said firmly. Humanity needs answers. If we turn back now, we'll never know what we're facing. The others nodded in agreement. Whatever the risks, they had come too far to give up. As they approached their destination, the strange events increased. Shadow figures were seen moving through walls. Communications with Earth became distorted. 3 crew members developed mysterious illnesses that the ship's doctor couldn't explain. Then 2 months into their journey, Navigator Song made an announcement. Captain, we're approaching the coordinates. Everyone rushed to their stations. On the main screen, they could see a star, similar to Earth's sun. Around it orbited several planets, but one of them wasn't a planet at all. What is that? Whispered June. Floating in space was an enormous structure, a perfect sphere that reflected the light of the star. It was clearly artificial and absolutely massive, larger than Earth's moon. It's a station of some kind, said Hana, her voice filled with wonder. Built by whoever sent us the message. As they moved closer, they detected no signs of life or activity. The sphere hung silently in space, its surface covered with strange symbols and patterns. Prepare a boarding team, ordered June. We need to know what happened here. As they suited up for the mission, Yunji pointed out something disturbing on her console. Captain, she said quietly. According to these readings, that structure is at least 1 million years old. The crew looked at each other in stunned silence. Who had built this, and what had destroyed them? The boarding team prepared to enter the giant sphere. Captain June Park, Dr. Hana Lee, Engineer Minho, Security Officer Dae Wan, and Medic Sun Mi wore their spacesuits. They floated across the darkness between their ship and the ancient structure. Stay close, ordered June. We don't know what's inside. They found an opening that looked like an airlock. Minho studied the strange symbols beside it. I think this is a control panel, he said. To everyone's surprise, when he touched it, lights flickered on. The door slid open. It still works after 1 million years? whispered Sunmi. How is that possible? They entered cautiously. Once inside, sensors showed breathable air. After running tests to confirm it was safe, they removed their helmets. This place is enormous, said Daewon, shining his light into the darkness. The beam couldn't reach the far walls. They walked through long corridors filled with strange machines. Hana noticed something odd about the walls. Look at these markings, she said. They're records of different civilizations. She pointed to images showing various alien species, their planets, and what appeared to be their histories. There must be thousands of different species recorded here, said June. None of them look like humans. As they moved deeper into the structure, the lights began turning on automatically ahead of them. They entered a vast circular room with a glowing column in the center. The column pulsed with soft blue light. Something's alive in there, said Sunmi, checking her instruments. Before anyone could respond, a voice spoke in their minds. Visitors. After so long, everyone froze. The voice wasn't heard with their ears but felt inside their heads. Who are you? Asked June, trying to hide his fear. The light pulsed brighter. I am the archivist, the last of the guardians. Did you send the messages to Earth? Asked Hana. Yes. A warning. The silence comes for you now. The team exchanged worried glances. What is the silence? Asked June. The light formed into a shape, a tall, thin figure made of crystal. It moved toward them. The silence is the end of all things. For billions of years it has traveled through the galaxy. It finds civilizations that reach for the stars and removes them. Images appeared around the room, planets breaking apart, stars going dark, entire solar systems being destroyed. Why? Whispered Hana. Why would anything do this? The silence. Believes advanced life threatens the balance of the universe, explained the archivist. My people tried to warn others. We built stations like this one throughout the galaxy, but the silence found us too. Are you the only survivor? Asked Sunmi. Yes. I uploaded my consciousness into this system before my physical body died. I have waited here, sending warnings, hoping someone might have what other species lacked. What did they lack? Asked June. The archivist's light dimmed slightly. I do not know. The silence judges each species differently. All have failed. Suddenly, alarms began sounding throughout the station. Red lights flashed. What's happening? Demanded Daewon, reaching for his weapon. A transmission from your planet, said the archivist. Objects have entered your solar system. Unknown origin, moving toward Earth. Horror spread across the team's faces. The silence had found humanity. We need to get back to the ship, said Jun. Now. As they turned to leave, the archivist called out, Wait, take this. A small crystal floated toward them. Knowledge from all the species that came before. Perhaps you will see what they could not. Hana took the crystal carefully. Thank you. Your species is different, said the archivist as they left. I sense something in you I have not seen before. If any can survive the silence, perhaps it is humans. They rushed back to their ship. As the horizon prepared to jump to faster than light speed, Hana looked back at the ancient station one last time. We need to warn Earth, she said. The silence is coming. The horizon raced back toward Earth at full speed. The ship had taken damage during its journey, and the crew worked desperately to keep systems functioning. Captain June Park had not slept in 3 days. The knowledge that Earth faced an unknown threat pushed him beyond normal limits. How much longer? He asked Navigator Yoon. 7 hours until we reach Earth space, she replied, her voice tight with worry. On the main screen, they watched news reports from home. Strange objects had appeared at the edge of the solar system. Dark spheres that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. They moved slowly but with purpose, ignoring all attempts at communication. Militaries worldwide had mobilized. People crowded into churches, temples, and mosques. Some fled to remote areas, others simply waited. When the horizon finally arrived, Earth looked unchanged from space. But the 7 dark objects had moved closer, now positioned between Earth and Mars. "Take us in," ordered June. "We need to report what we found." At the United Nations emergency session, Dr. Hannah Lee presented the crystal from the archivist. Scientists had already begun studying its contents. "The entity called the Silence has destroyed thousands of civilizations," she explained to the grim-faced leaders. "It judges species and eliminates those it finds wanting." "Judges them how?" asked the Secretary General. "That's what we don't understand yet," admitted Hannah, but the archivist believed humans might have something other species lacked. A scientist named Dr. Seo approached the podium with new findings. "We've analyzed records from many extinct civilizations," he said. "They all reached space for different reasons. Some needed resources, others sought to escape dying worlds. Many wanted to conquer." "What's your point?" asked a military general. "None explored space simply to learn," said Dr. Seo. "None sent messages into the void just to say hello. They all had practical goals." Hannah suddenly understood. That's why the archivist said we're different. Humans explore because we're curious. We sent the Voyager probes with music and art, not demands or threats. Before anyone could respond, the room's lights flickered. All communications worldwide began failing. Television broadcasts showed only static. Internet connections dropped. Outside, the sky darkened as if a storm approached. But it wasn't clouds blocking the sun. Something vast and shapeless spread across the atmosphere, a void that seemed to consume light itself. The Silence had arrived. Military forces launched missiles at the dark objects. Fighter jets scrambled. Space-based weapons fired. Nothing worked. The weapons either disappeared into the darkness or simply stopped working. Panic spread. In some cities, people rioted. In others, they gathered peacefully, holding hands and singing. At the Seoul Observatory, where it all began 10 years earlier, Hannah worked with Captain June and a team of scientists. They had set up a special lab to study the crystal and communicate. With the archivist's knowledge, "The Silence doesn't just destroy," said Hannah, looking at new data. "It tests. It observes how species react to the threat of extinction. And every species before us fought back," added June. "They all tried to destroy it, which only proved they were dangerous," finished Hannah. Exactly what the Silence feared. Outside, the darkness grew. Satellites began failing. Power grids shut down across continents. The world held its breath, waiting for the end. But in the lab in Seoul, Hannah had an idea so simple, so human, it just might work. "We need to show it who we really are," she said. "Not just our weapons and fears, but everything, our art, our music, our contradictions." "How?" asked June. Hannah looked at the crystal glowing softly in its container. "With this, the archivist gave us the means to communicate with the Silence. We just need to speak with our true voice." The darkness spread across Earth's sky, day turning to endless night. In Seoul, Dr. Hannah Lee worked frantically with her team. They had converted the observatory's main antenna to transmit a special signal, using technology from the archivist's crystal. "We can't fight the Silence," Hannah told the Emergency Council, "but we can show it who we truly are." World leaders looked skeptical. Military generals wanted to keep fighting. But with weapons failing and communications breaking down, they had few options left. "What exactly do you propose?" asked the Secretary General. "Instead of sending weapons against it, we send our story," said Hannah. "Everything that makes us human. Our best and worst. Our hopes and fears. Our entire history." Captain June stood beside her. "The Silence judges species by their actions. Every civilization before us responded with force. We need to show it something different." After heated debate, the council agreed. They had nothing left to lose. Engineers worldwide connected remaining power systems to Hannah's transmitter. People everywhere were asked to share their stories, music, art, anything that showed humanity's spirit. The response was overwhelming. In the face of extinction, humans revealed their true nature. Children sent drawings, musicians played their instruments, poets read their works, scientists shared their discoveries. Ordinary people told their life stories. All of it flowed into the system Hana had built. As the final preparations were made, June found Hana alone in her office. "Do you really think this will work?" he asked quietly. Hana looked at him with tired eyes. "I don't know. But if we die, let's die showing who we really are, not who fear makes us become." The transmission began. Using the crystal's technology, they sent humanity's complete story into the darkness above. The signal contained everything: our art, music, literature, and scientific achievements alongside our wars, cruelties, and failures. "We are contradictions," narrated Hana as the transmission continued. "We destroy, yet we create. We hate, yet we love. We fear the unknown, yet we reach for it. We are humans." For 3 days the transmission continued while the silence hovered above Earth. No more satellites fell. No more systems failed. It was as if the entity was listening. On the 4th day, something changed. The darkness began to shift and move. People watched from below as shapes formed in the void, moving, changing, responding to the human story being told. Then, unexpectedly, a reply came. Not in words, but in images and feelings that appeared in minds worldwide. The silence communicated directly. It showed them countless worlds it had ended, species that reached for the stars with greed or fear as their driving force, species that would spread like a disease through the galaxy, destroying everything in their path. The silence wasn't a destroyer. It was a protector, eliminating threats before they could spread. For billions of years it had kept the balance of life in the galaxy. "We understand," Hana replied through the transmitter. "But we offer a different path. Let us help heal what others have broken." The darkness above Earth began to recede. The 7 objects moved away from the planet, back toward the edge of the solar system. A final message came to Hana's mind, a sense of cautious acceptance and a warning that the silence would be watching. 6 months later, Earth had changed. Nations that once fought each other now worked together. The horizon had been rebuilt, with June as its captain once more. Their new mission, to visit the worlds the silence had spared, to learn and to help where they could. On the day of launch, Hana stood on the bridge beside June. "Ready?" he asked. She nodded, looking at the stars on the view screen. "We answered, the silence with our voice. Now let's show the universe what humans can really do." The ship's engines hummed to life. Humanity's journey had only just begun.